Y'all ready for this? Whoever just said yes, you're fucking lying. Hello everyone, my name is VivianJade, the trained unprofessional, and welcome back to Arches. Welcome back and back and back and back. We're back again. For God's sake, it never ends. These Echo games just keep coming back. And I keep playing them because I'm a sucker for punishment. Yeah, that's the thing, is it's good. It's really good. And it's horrifying. Every time I play this game, I get super, like, spiky, and I don't want to be, like, looked at and touched and even talked to, and it sucks because I live with people, and, and I get very uncomfortable. Okay, here we go. Does he get out of the torque? Does he get the torque? Oh no, we're gonna go back into the house? Oh, what the hell? Ugh! Oh, what is this? Or we're going mid-trip. Cameron stays curled up on the floor for what feels like a long time. He had ultimately decided that he'd rather watch the harmless, pulsating arches, they said the thing, dance behind his eyelids, rather than the nightmare the trailer is becoming. Every minute or so, the reality of the situation hits the coyote, and a burst of whimpering gasps escape his muzzle for a few minutes before fading back to only whimpering. He would stay down there until his trip was over, but Brian ended up pulling him back to where he was sitting. At this point, the coyote doesn't fight the bear, going limp while his body is pulled along. Honestly, when you're dealing with Brian, it's probably best. As horrible as the situation is and as terrifying the prospect, just cooperating is probably best. Which is horrifying in and of itself. For a minute, Brian tries to get him to sit in the chair, but eventually just gives up, dropping Cameron next to the table where he just lies on the floor. The coyote listens to the old bear moving around the trailer, though it's barely audible over his own gasping sobs. Eventually, those lumbering, shuffling footsteps come closer, and Cameron knows that the old bear is crouching next to him, though the coyote still doesn't open his eyes.
Listen, kid, since he ain't gonna calm down, you take him some Zans, got it?
Cameron listens, but doesn't move, afraid to do anything. Then he flinches as a rough, calloused paw grabs his chin, forcing his mouth to open slightly. Ugh. Jesus, bathed in red and still flashing, good lord. Finally, Cameron opens his eyes a bit and almost gasps at the vivid red lighting, which keeps him distracted until something falls into his mouth. A pill. And Cameron recognizes its distinct bar shape and bitter taste. Brian holds out a cup, a plastic one that Cameron looks at with undisguised fear.
It's just water.
The old bear gestures at the counter where a gallon jug sits. When Cameron still doesn't move, Brian sighs. Then he gets up, grabs a cup straight out of the sink, and pours it half full before drinking it. Cameron's mouth is as dry as the desert surrounding them, likely due to the combination of drugs and fear. He really does want to swallow the pills to get rid of the taste. So he takes the cup and drinks, swallowing the Xanax, and despite his fear, drinks until the cup is empty. He vaguely remembers his high school friends telling him to drink water to make his trip less intense. Cameron has the feeling that it probably won't change anything. Brian takes the cup from the coyote's limp paw, and it takes Cameron a second to realize that the bear is holding out another pill that looks like a small red square.
Now put this one under your tongue.
Cameron stares, trying to figure out if it's just the trip making that look that color, or Brian sighs again, becoming more impatient.
I broke a third off the bar I gave you.
But now Cameron is sure the pill is actually red, and he draws back. A counterfeit pill. And that probably means it's cut with something. Something like opioids. I don't... Oh! Oh boy. Brian slaps him. Strike coming so fast, the coyote isn't even sure what happened. A sudden numbing sting on the left side of his face, along with this bright flash of light, is very, very familiar, though. Cameron feels as though he's traveled 7 years back in time. His delayed reaction is a surprised gasp as he raises his arms over his face. Barry yanks his arms back down and thrusts the pill at his muzzle. This time, the coyote opens his mouth willingly, maneuvering the pill to sit under his tongue. His movements feel almost robotic at this point. To Cameron's immense relief, this seems to satisfy the bear, and Brian gets up from his crouching position, backing away. Coyote sits there for a moment, then slowly drags himself under the table, huddling in a corner as tears well up in his eyes again. After going through all of that, and knowing that there's plenty more to go through, Cameron longs for Devon more than he ever has before. He waits until the pill dissolves before asking the question that he dreads hearing the answer to. Is Devon, the bear, is he alive? If this giant, violent bear had encountered Devon and Artie, there's no telling what he might have done to them. His heart drops as the bear seems to hesitate. Please, tell me the truth. Cameron needs to know.
The bear's fine. He's locked up, but fine.
His tone sounds genuine. And even though Cameron will never trust him, he has to hold on to some hope. And if I do this for you, you'll let him go, too?
That's the plan. Is he your boyfriend?
Cameron isn't sure how best to respond to that, so he doesn't. Brian shrugs.
Doesn't matter much to me. Just do what I tell you, and you'll both be out of here by tomorrow.
It's quiet for a moment. Brian moves to the other end of the trailer, opening the fridge and doing whatever it is he does. Cameron doesn't bother keeping track.
Let me know when you start seeing shit. Got something to do real quick.
Cameron blurts out the other question weighing heavy on his mind. And Arturo, the cat, is he... Brian doesn't look back and just sighs again. Cameron doesn't ask any follow-up questions, feeling like he got his answer. The thought that Artie might be gone is too messed up for his drugged-up mind, especially because he feels certain that he can't be gone. Cameron can't explain why, but he just feels it. Well, if he's communicating with the dead, how the fuck would he know the difference? He feels Dev, and he feels Artie. Brian stands next to the door, holding a plastic water bottle. Oh God, he's about to go find Dev, because what he's about to go do, I imagine, is go give Dev some water, but Dev's trying to escape, and oh my goodness.
I'll go out for about 5 minutes. I'll be right next to the trailer, so if I see you try anything, I'll shoot your boyfriend in front of you. Then I'll kill you. Eventually.
Cameron doesn't move. But soon, the trip intensifies. And he hugs himself, a movement making his ribs ache from the earlier kicks. Just watches the vivid colors and shapes of his hallucinations. Meanwhile, the acrid taste of Xanax lingers on his tongue. Oh no. He hadn't felt any pain. He doesn't feel any pain right now either. Not physically, at least. It's something deeper. It's about who he used to be, who he is now, and who he's about to become. Something profoundly terrible has happened. It's changed something. He knows that much, at least. What he really wishes to know right now is who the hell he even is. Is this Artie? He tries to think back to what he last remembers. Standing in front of everyone in the 2nd grade, his trembling paws holding his book report, clears his throat, trying to figure out how to put his sentences together in advance. Or maybe this is just the trip. Oh my god, I got it!
Speak up, Arturo. The whole class needs to hear you.
Arturo. That's his name. Arturo Herrera. He opens his eyes. But how did he end up here? Where are his classmates? 2nd grade, or was it 3rd? And no, he's positive that he's at least in high school. He tries again to remember what happened last. He was sitting in the junior parking lot with his girlfriend. She was upset because another girl was being mean to her. She's a Jaguar, sitting in the passenger seat of his beat-up sedan. One of her feet was on the dash, and he's leaning towards her to kiss her on the cheek. What's her name? Sarah Mendoza. Or was it Montoya? But now he remembers that they didn't last long at all, or maybe only a semester. Probably because he sucks at comforting people. We know that's fucking true. He does always say the wrong thing at the wrong time. That's fucking true. But he still had several girlfriends after her up until... Maria? His voice is so alien, so strange. It startles him a bit. What's even more strange is how hard it is to even say her name. He stutters. He has to chew around the syllables like he's biting at the letters. As he does, he notices a sour taste in his mouth, and he can smell vomit. Looking at the forest floor in front of his face, and he sees a dried mess of what he's sure is the source of the smell. Bits of something orange and mushy, and chunks of what he recognizes as jerky. Things are starting to come together, but it takes a long time, maybe even an hour, as he goes in and out of consciousness. Oh God, don't show it. Maria. Pueblo. Devon. Psychology. Graduation. Behavioral tech. Road trip. Accident. Echo. Cameron. THC cartridge. Visions. Ghosts. Panic. Bear. Gunshot. Gunshot. He's been shot. And now that he realizes his current position, curled up on his side, arms folded up in front of his chest. He tries to move his arms, but like everything else he's trying to do, it's very difficult. Muscles feel unnervingly weak, and every time he moves, it's come with an uncontrollable twitching and trembling. Arturo stares at his paws, watching the tremors, trying to quell the panic. Finally, he slowly manages to sit up. Immediately, dizziness overtakes him, and he has to pause for several seconds before he's sure he's not going to fall back down. Once he's sitting up, his stomach turns and he dry heaves. And that's when he feels the pain. It's not terrible, but the deep, cold throb at the back of his head feels very wrong. And I just played New Vegas, too. With a shaking paw, he reaches back. Finally, feels the damage. Fur is crusted and matted, becoming a bit damp as he gets closer to the source. His fingers brush over a slight gap. Like there's a small crater in his fur. As he presses down, he realizes the crater goes past the fur and past the skin. And then he feels something oddly hard and almost sharp. Arturo gasps, realizing the stiff, jagged thing he's running a finger over is his broken skull. He jerks his paw away, breathing hard. He was shot in the head. In the head. I remember deciding to run since the shotgun wasn't loaded, but then the bear had taken out another gun, a handgun. And then, how is he alive? How long will he stay alive? Is there a bullet in his brain right now? He knows he needs something, so he tries to ask for it. I need He struggles to not stutter. To say the right word that he knows he's trying to use. He knows that this is very, very bad. Devon was hurt too, maybe even killed. Cameron, he was already hurt, and it was a monster in the forest that had hurt him. Cat brings his knees up to his chest, putting his arms around them like he's a child. He feels like a child, helpless and completely confused as he sits injured in this terrible forest. This must be some kind of awful dream, and he wants to wake up. And even though everything feels unfamiliar, surreal, dreamlike, he knows this is real. Arturo feels his face crumple as he starts to cry, pushing his forehead against his knees. I need something. No, wrong word. I need someone. Some relief as Arturo feels like he's improving at least a little bit. Maybe this is only temporary. He'd been told several times in his psych and neuroscience courses that the brain is plastic. The fact that he's recalling these memories, making sense of these memories, gives him hope. But there are still certain things, very simple things, that are missing. Ruin my life. Arturo jerks his head to look up, heaving again as another wave of dizziness and nausea sweeps through him. Cameron. Was it like a shadow Cameron? Like an echo that were shadow chases? He looks in the direction of the sound and sees a trailer partially hidden behind tree trunks and bushes about 30 feet away. His right ear pops loudly several times as he rubs at it, feeling fluid come out. He knows it's blood. The cat slowly begins to stand up and immediately gets a terrible shock as he realizes the weakness he'd felt in his arms is also in his legs. He struggles, stumbles his way to the tree, trying not to panic again, before finally leaning up against it. Oh my god! Migo, I can't breathe. Oh my. Oh my. What the fuck am I, a Southern Belle? Oh my. Arturo realizes he's not the only one in this nightmare. Did the monster come back for Cam? I'm sorry, Cameron yells. Arturo starts moving toward the trailer before it dawns on his shattered, bewildered mind that he's looking at the bear's trailer. The one that shot him. He must have Cameron in there. Whoa. So when... Oh, so this is a tiny bit of a flashback. So this happened a little bit ago. So this would explain, like, oh no. That means he's gonna, like, get up to the door when fucking Brian comes out and he's gonna be like, ow. Bang. And motherfucker. Oh, I don't blame him. You know what? I don't like Artie. I don't like Arturo. I don't like him. But it's hard not to sympathize with a motherfucker that got shot in the back of the fucking head, alright? Especially when his first memory after waking up from said brain shooting is be struggling with a fucking second grade research paper, alright? It's hard not to feel for a person in that situation, alright? Arturo flinches back at the sound. As for bristles out along his spine, eyes wide as Cameron's screaming echoes through the forest. My bad. The cat looks around helplessly, hoping that Devon comes to help. You know, that evil bear is bigger. Devon's a pretty big bear too, and he would stand a much better chance than he himself would. Yeah, you're got like a full leg and a half in the fucking grave right now, dude. Thuds followed by yelps and howls come next, and finally, it's too much for Arturo. Dev, you can't go in there like this, and he knows that, but he can go get help. Maybe. Depending how bad it is, these problems he's having could get a lot worse over the course of just a few hours. Yeah. Just a couple of minutes, you could drop at any fucking second, bro. But he has no choice. Well, he knows he has a car, he also knows that he can't use it, even though he can't remember why. He remembers that there's a highway, the one that they should have gone to the second he got here. Yeah. Well, hindsight's 20, isn't it? Needs to get them all help. So, with one more terrified look at that trailer, he starts to make his way out of the forest. Man. Artie's on the fucking case. How far is he gonna get before he stumbles across fucking Duke or whatever? And then, yeah, the sympathy's gonna be running real fucking far there. Maybe he'll find Leo. That would be a fucking... I don't know. I don't have a lot of fucking faith in the Echo townspeople to see a dude with a hole in the back of his head and think anything other than, oh, here we go again, let's just put this guy down and be done with it. At first, Arturo is filled with a sense of hopelessness as he finds out just how hard it is to walk, with his right side being almost limp. Feels like half of his muscles are just wasted away. But after some trial and error, he finds that if he widens his stance a bit and swings his arms in a way that looks a bit lopsided, he's able to keep his balance. His pace is reasonable as well, so swallowing down his panic again, he makes his way back onto the dirt road. Well, so we're gonna leave that hanging threat. Wait. No! No! Is this the flash forward? Okay, there were people who were like, no, dude, it can't be. Whoever the fuck was on that dirt road, they were a track star, whatever the hell. I don't remember the fuck. I don't want whoever the hell Brian tracks down. It's just... God damn it. You got me rooting for Artie once. Out of this whole fucking game, you finally got me on his fucking side. You finally got me rooting for him. Now, if it turns out that this is the fucking scene in the intro where you... Because Brian's gonna come out there and presumably notice that Arturo's dead body isn't there anymore. Because he was right in front of the fucking trailer. And so he's gonna take off trying to find him. He ain't gonna get farther than a fucking car would. So... Fuck, man. I don't wanna... Aww. You finally get me on his side. You finally did it. After all these episodes where I'm like, man, Arturo makes me not like this fucking game. Cameron's been an asshole because Artie's been corrupting him and he's making him look like an asshole. Man, after all this time, you finally get me on his fucking side and you're gonna fucking bring him back from the brink of death. And then you're gonna kill him. God damn it. Let's see if he makes it. Let's see if he can pull this one out. By the skin of his teeth. Even through the disbelief of his situation, and even though he's terrified for Cameron and Devon, he feels something deep down that's even worse. He tries to ignore it, but it gnaws at the back of his brain. It's probably the flies. And gnats. Maybe some... I don't know. What are those fucking things? The maggots. He's dying. And he can feel it. Yeah. Devon struggles with his handcuffs, trying to get the chain into the position he wants. He pulls his paws up until the chain is taut, then moves slowly in a circle around the bolt until the chain twists on itself. That was the easy part, and based on the tension he felt being put on the chain links, he'd been feeling pretty confident. But then he'd spent what feels like the last hour trying to actually put enough force and weight into the motion so that the chain would break. While the twisted chain is taking most of the pressure off of his own wrists, it still hurts. Devon can see through his fur that he's already starting to bleed from the... Ah! God! One of the most... that shit's... You can't get that vision out of your... Because from the movie, that shit fucking... Oof. That it's in my fucking brain. Fur coming off in small tufts with each failed twist and jerk. God damn. Come on, damn it, please! After another failed heave, Devon slumps with paws pressed into the floor of the van, gasping and sweating. A wave of dizziness comes over him, and he ends up pressing his face to the metal floor. Please. Please help me. That would be a horrible time for Brian to show up. Oh, you want help, do you? Devon half-heartedly prays, just in case there is something above all this. Footsteps. Uh-oh! Devon scrambles to twist back around and step over the anchoring bolt so that his paws are behind him again, sitting up to face the back door of the van. It opens, and Devon finds himself staring at the bear that did this to him. Even though he doesn't want Cameron anywhere near this man, seeing that the coyote isn't there with Brian sends panic through the younger bear. What do you want? Where's Cameron? Please, shut it! Devon watches the dread as he sees the huge bear holding that water bottle. Please, just tell me what you want. I'll give it to you. Just let me see him. Ooh. His teeth snap together. The next thing the bear knows is that his head is resting against the metal cage partition that separates the back of the van from the seats. Ouch! Dazed, his chin is on his chest, his arms under his back, forcing him to arch his chest and stomach toward the van's roof. I gotta get a mental image of that. What the fuck? His chin is on his chest, his arms under his back, forcing him to... What the... And Brian is on him, pressing the bottle to his lips. Jesus. Dazed from the punch, Devon can only mumble in protest. No. Devon sees the look on the other bear's eyes, and he knows that eventually he's going to have to drink from the bottle again. Feeling completely defeated, Devon can only plead with the man. Wait, just tell me what you want. Is he okay?
Boy, you're really starting to piss me off. If you don't do what the fuck I tell you...
Brian grabs Devon's chest fur in both paws and hauls him up so he's sitting in a more upright position.
I'm gonna take it out and
Wow. Wow. I mean, that's not really even the worst thing I've heard in a Echo game. I've just never heard that before. So he says that, now shut up, Jesus. But Devon can't shut up. He's half convinced that Cameron's already dead. Please, just let me see him so I know he's okay.
Alright, I was gonna say you already earned him one good hit, now it's two, one at a third.
Devon just stares. Of course, he knows that Brian doesn't need an excuse, that if he really wants to hurt Cameron, he can. Because there's nothing Devon can do. He can only do what the older bear tells him to do. So he opens his mouth. Slowly, Brian pours the slightly bitter water into his mouth. And Devon drinks. Even though his body wants to keep drinking, Devon starts to pull back after only a few swallows, as if he's had enough. Doesn't even suspect the water's drugged, but Brian pushes the bottle hard enough that Devon's lips are painfully mashed between the plastic and his own teeth, and he's forced to keep drinking. Even when he lets a tiny bit dribble from the corner of his mouth, Brian growls more threats at him. Eventually, the water's gone, and Devon hangs his head and feet as Brian pulls back, backing out of the van. Devon squeezes his eyes shut, wishing this fucking bear would just tell him what's happening, what he's doing to Cameron, why he's keeping him alive. The younger bear is too afraid to talk, too afraid of what Brian might do, and without another word, the van door slams shut. Fucking A. And we're back inside the fucking thing.